you so much for joining us on X Level Inc. Live. We are so excited today to have a moment to be centered, to have a moment to be at peace, but most importantly, to have a moment with Elizabeth Grullon. Elizabeth is a beautiful soul, so kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here with us. It's such a pleasure to have someone of your stature that is an artist, a director, you're an actress, you do voiceovers, and most importantly, you're a meditation teacher. You know, you're an Afro-Latina that has made waves in a beautiful way because you are constantly at the forefront and in beautiful roles. But what I love about you is you're so centered in the process. And I know as an actor, I can only imagine the roller coaster that you go through day in, day out. Tell me a little bit about how you manage that.
Yeah. Well, the mindfulness practice is my life raft. It's literally changed my life. Before I started practicing, I was kind of mentioning this when we were having the technical stuff happen.
Yeah.
But I was, I wasn't really working consistently. Like I was still kind of in struggle mode, in scarcity mode, in compete and compare mode.
Yeah.
And in a very ego-centric mode where I'm going into an audition, and whether or not I get the job defines whether or not I'm a good actress. It defines whether or not I did a good job in the room. It defines on an unconscious level, like whether I'm like a good person or like I am a valuable of value. So I'm going in the room now and I'm auditioning for my own value instead of auditioning for the role.
Right.
And then with the practice, it helps to settle, to kind of soften the ego. And then you get a more kind of embodied state. You know this because we've practiced together.
Yeah.
But you start to have more of a dialogue with yourself.
Right.
Just all you're doing is making contact with yourself.
Right.
And through contact, through conversation, just like it would be with anybody, you kind of start to grow like a little bit of affection. And like, oh, like you're a person, there's a person in here that I've been kind of abandoning and like ignoring on like my pursuit for whatever.
Right.
So with that contact, there's like more of a settled feeling. Then you start to feel a little bit more confident. You start to realize like, and it just all happens very naturally. It's not a concept thing, but it's an actual organic process.
Right.
But then I started to go into rooms like, I mean, I'm a person. Like this is a part.
Right.
Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. But either way, I'm a human. I live on the planet Earth. Like I matter.
Exactly. Amen.
So then I started to get more jobs because that's an attractive energy.
Right. Well, I have to tell you,
I don't know.
They were saying thank you for your time and how excited that they were with your insight. But I have to tell you, one of the things, and I do want to get to the question about, I don't know if you answered already, meditation advice for beginners, but I wanted to give you just to thank you publicly. In my story of where I've been growing and evolving for the company and having all that, I also struggled, like many of us, with ego and thought that my career, even though I'm very grateful for it, was amazing, was defining me versus me defining me. And the weekend that we met, my best friend Rocio said, she goes, "What do you want to do this weekend?" I said, "I only want to wear yoga clothes and I'm just going to allow the universe to take me wherever we go. No reservations. I'm sorry. I know everyone likes a reservation. I have been so scheduled. It's not happening." And she told me about Mind Dry. And I said, "Okay, let's go." And we went, and your class was so instrumental in me being good with my decision of saying, I'm letting that go and I'm evolving to this. So I'm making emotional. I am so grateful for you because I will tell you this, you made it so okay in the class that you taught of us accepting our vulnerability And as you said earlier, being defined by what's in here, not on the outside. And that was beautiful. So thank you, because you really transform and inspire. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be able to thank you publicly,
Oh,
because you made things happen. It's interesting, like you said, the magic. After that, we went to our no reservation. There was supposed to be a 6-month wait list to get into this restaurant in my yoga clothes. Can we have a table at 7:30? Oh, yes. I was like, see, it happens.
yeah.
So I have to tell you, and for anyone that's out there, to not be afraid to allow yourself. And I would love for you to give to others that are listening right now, and to give you the floor of what you taught me in that class about listening to yourself and taking those breaths and allowing. I loved when I was on your website reading about what joy really is. And it's
Mm,
interesting what people think it is versus what
mm,
it really is. And I think when you have that personified from within, it finds you in a you didn't
yes.
realize.
Oh God, thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot. It means the world to me. Thank you for
Yeah.
just reflecting that back to me. It's so incredible to hear, you know?
Yeah.
Also, as you were saying that, because you're a Latina woman,
Yeah.
as am I,
Yes.
and for anybody else listening who, it's really for everyone who's listening, but in
Right.
particular people of color, like it, the idea that that our value is based on our career, how much money we make, the kind of car we drive, the security, job security, status, all of that stuff
Right.
is that's a very colonial idea. It's very
Right.
capitalism. It's
Mhm.
internalized capitalism.
Right.
And the whole society here, and really much of the Western world, is running around with this internalized capitalism, uh,
Mm.
hustling for our own worthiness, you know, trying to stunt on each other and flex on each other and have enough and scarcity and all of that. And that's not the natural order. That is not the
Mhm.
natural way. I actually just ordered a sweatshirt that says, it just says decolonize,
Mm. Oh,
you
wow.
know?
I love
And
it.
also, like, it regards to everything that's happening in society with Black Lives Matter, the protests, even I can even thread it into the quarantine, what's happening with the planet, it's like really dissolving that internalized capitalism, that
Mhm.
idea that our value is based on our career, and
Mhm.
therefore, if I'm more successful than that person, then I'm more valuable than them. So I can look at them as lower.
Right.
Or the idea that that the earth and its animals are beneath us, and that we can like yoke it and control it and just use it and just abuse it as this resource. That's a very colonial idea. It's like these modern Western, and for us, I think as you were reflecting that back to me,
Mhm.
the effect it had on you, I think it touches me so much because I'm looking at this Latina woman, the representation for your ancestors with
Mhm.
your name, which
Right.
is so
Yeah.
right, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, it's helping you to unyoke
Right.
this conditioning,
Right.
and that's what meditation is. It's
Mm.
all about when we breathe, we connect with our breath, we come into our body, we are leaving the world of concept and
Right.
coming into the actual direct experience of reality.
Right.
Breath, body, sensations, sound, whatever that may be. It doesn't have to be like enjoyable or pleasurable. It might be an itch. It's like,
Right.
what's it like? Let me check that out. Where it's just kind of like that's what we call it, a practice, because you're
Right.
cultivating the ability to come into reality and get out of our mind. Our mind is the thing that creates racism, inferiority complex, scarcity, anxiety, depression.
Right.
Like everything we
Right.
learned it with our mind.
Right. Very true. Yes.
So, these ideas that are for a lot of, I'm sure a lot of the people listening are actors. going into an audition, like, I remember when I started practicing, I started having the sensation of what we would call anxiety. But I
Right.
had been practicing enough to go, oh wait, this is an opportunity to practice. Let me investigate. Like, what
Mhm.
is anxiety in my body?
Right.
Okay, so let me breathe. Okay, I feel like kind of a gurgling and like butterflies in my stomach. There's like a tightness, a contraction in my chest. And then check in. What's the story? Is
Mm.
there a thought that's corresponding with the physical sensation?
Right.
And then I checked, and the thought was, what if I never make it as an actress? What if I'm not good enough? What if I never get on a TV show? What if I'm a failure and I have to leave LA?
Mm.
And I go, holy shit, I'm thinking that?
Right.
Like in the
Wow.
background without
Right.
knowing it?
Right.
That's an unconscious thought kicking around in my mind.
Right.
And then we can learn how, this is a really important part of mindfulness, turn toward and care.
Mm.
Care. Like you care for your best friend. Like you
Right.
care for your little sister, like you care for your pet.
Right.
Um, and so I turned toward that voice, and it's my teacher always says, we're moving from cure to care.
Mm.
Not like banish it, like get out of
Right.
here, stupid thought. I need to be good vibes only. I need to be manifesting and it's
Right.
actually like heart quality, like, oh God, sweetheart,
Mm.
baby girl. I know it's scary. I know. We don't, and I talk to myself like
Right.
this. This is literally my practice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then boom, I get to go into the audition with, 5 less self-sabotagey thoughts.
Right.
And how much more available energy does that give me to focus on the role, the character, being curious, being playful? So that's, I started working a lot more.
Well, I
But
love what
yeah.
you stated. I don't mean to cut you off, but one of the things that really spoke to me right now is the gentleness that you're
Hmm.
having with yourself. Because I think that a lot of us, in just the way that we grew up, not intentionally, because nobody ever wants to intentionally teach this to you. It's just been taught for so long that
Hmm.
we're all creatures of habit, and society is part of that too. Is we don't always teach to be nice to ourselves. You look in the mirror, you look for the flaw, you don't look for the beauty. And I think that I loved what you were saying, that because the energy that you had by being gentle to redirect towards your audition was very different, because it took energy. Because the original thought would be what you said about, like, oh, suit of armor, I'm not going to listen to you. But
Yeah.
it was, I need to be calm with myself. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way. That's
Yes.
that.
That's a
I'm
key.
going to take that with me.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
key aspect to mindful self-compassion. So
Mhm.
because what you're doing is you're bringing it in to the heart.
Right. Right.
Come, my child, come. My
Right.
little baby inside that's like completely freaked out and having a panic attack and
Yes.
like totally thinks it's not lovable. We all suffer from the trance of unworthiness, as
Right.
our Brock calls it. So we want to turn toward and bring that in. Just listen.
Right.
Again, I always think Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master, he talks about the big brother and the little brother. It's like if you have a little 5-year-old brother and they come home and they're like, no one likes me. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be, would you, when you speak to that little kid, would you say like, don't think that. You need to not think that. You need to, some would, and that's probably less skillful.
Mm.
Or I think a more skillful way is like, sit, buddy, sit. Let's talk
Right.
about it.
Right.
And I want you to know that you do matter.
Right.
And I love you. I'm here for you. It's
Right.
like that tenderness. And
Mhm.
you guys, you would be surprised. Oh my God, how much you need it.
Right.
And then that little voice starts to dissolve. The tears come, and then you feel better. And you're like, all right. And then the beauty, another beautiful aspect of it is you can only offer to others what you have offered to yourself.
Right.
So when you start to treat yourself like this, you become more heart. It's like a bigger heart kind of
Right.
for yourself. And you can kind of start showing up for people in a little bit of a different way.
Right. Wow, that's so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. one of the questions that was asked, and I know we wanted to end with that here in a little bit, was about what meditation advice do you give for beginners?
Yeah.
But before we go there, with everything going on in our world and being centered, what does your day reflect? Because I know right now you're working also on a film and doing,
Oh yeah.
so I would love for people to hear that, because I think the opposite. Sometimes people think that when you're so mindful, you're not going to do, you're not proactive in
Mhm.
other areas. And I think that's
Oh
a
yeah.
misconception. So do you mind addressing that for us too?
I love that you brought that up, because it's a common thing, especially for beginners.
Right.
Like, oh, so what? I'm just gonna go around feeling good? Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna motivate me to do anything? What's gonna motivate me to be successful or productive if I unhook from the idea that success is defining me? Um, if I'm just gonna kind of lay around being calm and like content.
Right.
My sister actually always says this to me. I mean, for years she would say this to me. But what I have found, and what many of us practitioners have found, is actually your purpose is very much still there. You
Mhm.
have a purpose for being
Right.
alive. There's a reason you chose as a soul to get beamed down into this place and this time specifically. And what a time to be alive,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like with everything that's happening.
Yes.
So your purpose doesn't fade, and if anything, practicing in this way, decolonizing the mind,
Mhm.
decolonizing the spirit, the heart.
Right.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
I look at you and I see that. I really see your ancestors.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful. But when we decolonize like that, when we you know unhook from our conditioning, we can be more present. Um, all of this energy is available for you to do your thing. And you
Yeah.
actually are a lot more creative because you're not so burdened with this real dense mental structure. Um, so, like you were saying, when you were dealing with the technical difficulty, you take
Yeah.
a breath, and all of a sudden,
Right.
a new possibility enters. That
Right.
starts happening all over your life. Like you were
Right.
saying with the reservation, that's one tiny example, but you'll start to see it. You start to become more in flow with the
Mhm.
natural rhythm of the planet,
Right.
because it is alive and it does have a natural rhythm. We think ourselves out of it, but
Right.
when we start to, again, like I was saying, decolonize and come back into the natural way, all of a
Right.
sudden, like, oh, I got this job, but it wasn't just any job.
Right.
It was that job, and it was actually exactly what I was working on in my personal practice. And oh my God, the synchronicities, and wow, it
Yeah.
gets a lot more, it gets really sweet. Um, so yeah, don't worry about not wanting to work more. You can let go of your preoccupations, your concerns, your sense of unworthiness, and just you'll be a lot better off for it and more productive.
Mhm.
The past 2 days I shot a film with my partner, who's a director, and in response to the killing of George Floyd, the protests that are happening, in the film, we feature a poem that I wrote about the natural belonging of the Black body
Mm.
and the beauty of the Black body.
Right.
And we shot that, and then now I'm talking with you guys, and then I'm going to a Buddhist protest for Black Lives Matter right now after this.
Oh, wow.
Then I go to Malibu to teach 2 classes, and then tonight I leave to Florida with my boyfriend for him to meet my family for the first time.
Oh, wow. Talk
So
about a
don't worry
beautiful.
about not being productive.
Exactly. You're still gonna be there. You're still accomplishing your goals in a
Yeah.
beautiful way. Wow. That is exciting. I was about to tell you. So, are you doing you'll be definitely meditating on the plane, because if your boyfriend's anything like when it was our Latino family, it was like when you're introducing everybody, it's the biggest thing ever. So,
So nervous.
yes. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And before we meditate, I have a question. Does your family meditate as well? Or is it because I think like I don't know about you, but I know like in my family, I think they're tired of all the videos I probably send to them or the books. I'm like, by the way, I'm reading this now at times.
Yeah. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. I
It's so
made that
different sometimes.
mistake. I made that mistake for the first few years. It's a
Yeah.
classic beginner's mistake. You
Okay,
get
good.
so excited, you're learning so much, you're dropping so much anxiety and delusion and depression. You're like, oh my God, I got the secret to life. I'm free. And
Yes,
you want everybody else to get free exactly on your schedule.
right. Exactly.
So I made that
Yeah.
mistake, and I got put back in my place, and I got told off by a couple of family members. And then I learned a deeper wisdom that, master teachers will tell you, which is, you teach by how you love. You teach by showing up.
Mm.
How you show up. That's because people start to go, Elizabeth, what do you do? You know, what do
Uh-huh.
you do? Like, what's your,
Right.
because it's like,
What's your
what's
secret sauce? Yeah.
energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are you tapping into? So, with my family, that started to happen, and my
Yeah.
mom has started to practice with me a little bit. And
Oh, wow.
just yesterday, my sister on the phone, which I was telling you, she's
Uh-huh.
very, but yesterday she's like, Elizabeth, the other day, what was that thing you were saying about abundance? And I go, oh, I am open to receive blessings from every direction of life.
Right.
Like I taught her like a little
Yes.
affirmation. She's like
Yes.
writing it down.
That's I want to applaud you. That's an accomplishment, you know.
Yeah.
No, that is wonderful. You know, it's interesting you said because one of the things that I've always stated is, and I love when we can all learn our history and our culture and be tied to it, is I'm so grateful that my parents gave me an indigenous name because it gave me a reason to keep
Yes.
on learning and to study and say, oh my gosh, it means a star, it means this, and you realize it. What I love about it is I learned my history and I searched for it as well, and I was fortunate enough to have parents that really allowed me to do it. But when you have that, you no longer believe what's been told to you because you analyze all the educations have been brought forth. And to your point, it might have not been in my seventh grade history class. My teacher really loved me when I would be like, "No, actually, I know this other thing that happened in history as well." But
Yes.
but it gives a lot of people have always asked, where did your confidence come from? I really am grateful to my parents for my name because I feel that it was there, that it taught you to not have an ego, and it also taught you to be patient because nobody could pronounce it.
Mm.
Not even people in my own community at times knew how to pronounce it. So, and that's okay. But it
Yeah.
gives you a different perspective on things from that
Yeah.
perspective. So I have to tell you again, I am so honored and grateful to have you with us to share your time, your blessings, and I really hope before we go into our meditation is that what I'm walking away from today is one, yes, I had to breathe before the technology, so that was good.
I
I
did
think the
write the
universe was
script.
trying to say, oh, because I literally had all these questions written, and instead we had a great conversation. Because when that went away, I said, okay, throw away this book. It's going to be fine. We're just going to go with it.
Yeah.
And I think this is the conversation we're meant to have.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
definitely your abundance as affirmation will keep that going because I think that when people think abundantly, their life changes because you can see things from what's possible versus what's impossible. And am so grateful for you reminding us of this. And I'm sure my sister and some of my family, and I love them dearly, and they have been a little bit more open, will probably be more happier that I won't be sending them, a quote a day, possibly to say, it's okay. I'm in my happiness zone. You'll get there eventually, and that's all right. Your journey is your
Yeah.
journey, and you're allowed to have your journey. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you having your journey.
It's very important.
Yes.
Each of us is here with a different karmic contract. Each of us is here for a different reason. We're here to learn different lessons. We each have a very unique soul and
Right.
purpose. So it's actually ego to
Right.
think that you have an answer for somebody else, or that you have something you can teach them, or that you know something that they should be doing. If they want to suffer, let them suffer. It's
Right.
okay. And then because the deep teaching for us, what we're learning to do when we go from cure to care,
Right.
even with ourselves, like I was describing
Uh-huh.
earlier. We're learning to love.
Mm.
That's what we're learning. We're not
Right.
learning to be abundant. We're not learning to be a good teacher.
Right.
We're not learning how to avoid
Right.
difficulty. We're
Right.
learning to love. So when your sister or your or my sister, whoever
Right.
people we love show up and they're like, they're like
Right.
tangled up, but they're like, whatever. Our job is to figure out, okay, how can, where's my love? Where's my heart here? Can I
Mm.
honor that?
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, do you mind, because I know you have a beautiful, busy, productive day, at least give
Do
us a small meditation before
yes.
we go?
Let's do a
Okay.
little short like 2 or 3 minute.
Perfect.
So everybody just find a comfortable seated position, or you can even lay down and do this. You can stand up and do this.
Yes.
Uh, and then just start to drop the breath in. Placing the awareness on the breath. Checking it out, like the draw in through the nostrils, how it travels down the windpipe into the lungs, the lower body. The exhale through the nostrils, how it travels back out the same way it came in. Noticing the quality of the breath. Noticing any areas in the body of habitual holding. Maybe the eyebrow center, the shoulders, maybe even the lungs, the belly. And on the exhales, gently softening those areas of tension. Letting go of the social belly, how we hold it. Softening the eye sockets. Softening the searching, the figuring out. Now, gently placing the awareness on the heart center, the area behind the heart, closer to the spine. Whenever the thinking chimes in, taking you to the past, the future, fantasy, simply noticing, oh, thinking, that's okay, no big deal. And coming back down into the heart center. Imagining a softening of the heart, as if there was ice or a wall that had built up, kind of muscular contraction around the heart. And with the awareness and the breath, you could just kind of soften it. Letting the shoulders drop down the back and the heart kind of shine out in its very natural way. A couple more deep belly breaths here. Unhooking from thinking, softening, softening. And to finish, let's gently place a hand over the heart. This simple gesture actually releases oxytocin into the bloodstream. the bonding chemical released in a baby when it's picked up by its mother and held. And so knowing that, just kind of feeling the warmth of the hand on the heart center, imagining this gentle chemical flooding the bloodstream, offering yourself a little kindness here, a little maybe thank you for showing up today to do a short practice. Thank you for showing up to listen to a conversation about career and meditation, or anything else that naturally arises from the heart here. You know, perhaps a little message that you really need to hear. May you be well in body and in mind. May you be joyful and peaceful. May you be safe from harm. May all living beings be free. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. I am so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. I am ready for a magical day to continue.
Me too.
I know it's interesting how it feels here. And I want to end with one quick thing. Javier said something beautiful, and I want to read it to you in case you didn't see it. It says, "Love what you said, Elizabeth, that you are human and living now. I tell myself every day, I am human and therefore I'm enough." So I
Yes.
thought that was a beautiful way to end today. So thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate
Thank
you. Please subscribe to X Level Inc. You never know who is a fabulous person you're going to meet or learn from, because we can all learn from each other, and you make it a magical day today. Thank you, everyone. Bye,
Bye,
Elizabeth.
everybody. Good.
Thank
Bye.
you.